Today's judgment is as important for free speech as it is for freedom of religion. Christians have the right to express their beliefs on social media and other non-work related settings without fear of being punished by their employer.
It's a great day. There is victory in the case of Kristie Higgs, precedent-setting victory in this case, which has taken us 6 years to get to this point. It would be true to say, of course, it's a result for common sense. It's a result which says you are free to speak. It's a result that says you are free to speak about Jesus. You are free to speak about his morality. You are free to post on Facebook. You are free to have conversations at work. You're free to have conversations with Christian opinions without living in fear. Kristie's case goes right back to the 26th of October 2018, when an anonymous parent sent a message to the head teacher where Kristie worked in a secondary school as a pastoral assistant, saying, "Do you know what Kristie has posted on her Facebook account? I think it's transphobic and homophobic, and I'm concerned that she's working with students." What had she posted? She had posted her concerns about the books that were being taught in primary school promoting transgenderism to primary age children. And she was asking parents that were concerned about that to sign a petition to resist these books, this agenda that was in the school. As a result of that, she was made subject to disciplinary investigation and then dismissed for gross misconduct. Her case has taken many twists and turns. We've had recusals because those that have been sitting on her case, employment tribunal members, have found to be activists for organisations promoting the LGBTQI agenda. So we've had not one but 2 recusals in her case. Quite extraordinary. But now, almost 6.5 years later, we get to a place whereby the Court of Appeal has said this: the dismissal of an employee merely because they have expressed a religious or other protected belief to which the employer or a third party with whom it wishes to protect its reputation objects will constitute unlawful direct discrimination within the meaning of the Equality Act. So what does that say? It says that if you post an opinion, a Christian opinion, on God's morality, sexual morality, on the LGBTQ issue, on transgenderism in schools, and that is a belief that the employer objects to, that will constitute unlawful direct discrimination within the meaning of the Equality Act. If what you've simply done is expressed a concern about it on your Facebook, express that you don't agree, that you're really concerned that little children, little boys or girls aged 4, 5, 6 or 7 are going to school in the opposite sex, in the opposite gender. This says if you express that opinion and are dismissed as a result of expressing that opinion, then that's unlawful, direct, religious discrimination. Because we've lost many cases where really good people have said children do best with a mum and dad, have said well done girls to girls and one of them was identifying as a boy and lost their job. Well, we've represented teachers who've had real concerns about primary age children identifying in the opposite sex. And this judgment says that for expressing that concern, for simply stating that concern, if the employer sacks you, then it's unlawful direct discrimination. That is a really important victory. I really liked the concurring judgment of Lady Justice Falk. And she says this: as Lord Justice Underhill explains, it's necessary in this context to judge a statement by what it actually says. and not by reference to a concern about what some readers or some people might objectively read into or infer from it. Now, isn't that brilliant common sense? What was the person actually saying? That's what we have to determine, not how somebody heard it or received it. So the saying that marriage is between a man and a woman is not homophobic. Saying that somebody cannot change sex biologically, that a man cannot become a woman or a woman cannot be a man, is not transphobic. And here, Lady Justice Falk is saying quite clearly this: judge a statement by what it actually says, not by what somebody might wrongly read into it or infer into it. While this will, as Lord Justice Underhill notes, include necessarily implications, it must be emphasised that the test is an objective one. In other means, what meaning do the words actually have? What message would they convey to a reasonable reader? Isn't that wonderful? Here, at last, a Court of Appeal judge is saying the Employment Tribunal did not undertake that exercise in this case. Rather, it accepted that the school felt that the posts could reasonably lead someone to conclude that the claimant has certain views, was transphobic or homophobic. This is understandable because the Employment Tribunal was focusing only on the school's motivation, but it highlights a real concern that arises from such an approach, namely that if unchecked, it would endorse a judicially endorsed silencing of the legitimate expression of views due to a concern about the conclusions that some might choose to draw from what is said, even if an impartial tribunal would not agree that the conclusions could reasonably be drawn, and would also recognise the force of the point that freedom of speech entails the freedom to express opinions that may offend. Again, this is really good news. It's a great victory for free speech. It's a great victory for the church. It's a great victory, in fact, for Jesus Christ. And we do all of this because we really love him. And I pray that Christians and all people will use this really important freedom to continue to really live alongside one another in a really calm and hospitable way, learning to disagree well as necessary, but essentially to speak and to be free to speak.